podcast. For those that have not been listening, this is We Hate Gleyber Torres podcast. It's formerly known as the Chasing Points podcast, but it is now Gleyber Kick Rocks podcast. No, this is really still Chasing Points podcast, where we will talk sports every week, including Gleyber Torres and whatever he's doing out there if it's considered to be sports. And we are back this week with Harrison, Sam, and myself. Gentlemen, how are you doing enjoying the Yankees excluding Gleyber Torres?
We have one of the best, like my favorite week, right? Like the NFL draft, and then the NBA playoffs are in full swing. Some golf stuff happening, baseball, and we lead. We're talking about Gleyber Torres.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
To be fair, everyone, Brandon's been trying to talk about Gleyber Torres for like 2 weeks, and we just don't get to it. So,
yep. So I'm gonna force it to the top. I'm gonna force it to the top somehow, some way. We're not really gonna talk about Gleyber Torres to start this off. Just to let you guys know.
That's great.
Just to be very, very clear, we are going to talk about the draft. We're going to talk about the NBA playoffs. Last week we didn't have Harrison here to talk, but he has a lot to say about basketball. So we'll definitely hear his opinion and whether or not that I agree with it, because I'm sure he's got some off the wall shit. So we'll hear what we have to do with that. There may or may not be conversation about Gleyber Torres. There may or may not be a conversation about Caitlin Clark. There definitely will be. And we got some fights. We got some golf. We got a lot of stuff. So let's just jump all into this. But again, I will ask you, gentlemen, how the hell are you both doing?
Well, I'm better than Gleyber Torres. So
you are.
Yeah, I'm doing better than him.
Yes,
so we're good.
Fair.
Happy to be back. Missed you guys. Was listening. Hated that you just downplayed the Masters the other week, but that's fine. I'll get over it.
You're the golfer here. I'm not the golfer, so I'm never going to play up the golfer until I start actually getting out on the course with you, and then I probably still won't talk it up because I probably still won't watch. So there's that.
Fair.
To be fair, I am the other golfer on this podcast, and I feel like we did the Masters pretty well. Masters Sunday was my birthday. It was a beautiful and wonderful day. We just need to get Hayes on.
I have no qualms with how you respected the Masters, Sam. But Brandon's complete disrespect.
I don't know what you want from me when you know I don't watch it. What do you want from me? You want me to say nice things about something I know nothing of?
It's one of the greatest sporting events that we have.
That's to a golf fan would say that. Yeah, absolutely right. I could care less about the Masters.
All right, we can move on. It's over.
Tiger Woods winning?
He's done. Tiger Woods is done.
Well, I'm done too. I'm done with Tiger. I'm out of there like he's out of Nike. You know what I mean? That's it. This is what you brought out of me, sir. I didn't.
It is what it is. It is.
So let's get into the mock, or get into our mock draft, the chasing mock. That probably didn't go over well, but whatever. We'll get into our mock draft. For the draft that is coming up on the 25th. I hate that day because it's my ex-girlfriend's birthday, and that's how I always remember the draft. It's so crazy, no lie. Let's get into the draft order.
Just move on. Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's terrible. Let's get into the draft order of what we have here right off rip. So we have Chicago at number 1, number 2, Commanders, 3, New England, 4, Arizona, 5, LA Chargers, 6, Giants, 7, Tennessee, 8, Atlanta, 9, Chicago again, and then 10, your New York Jets. So, gentlemen, is it safe to say that Caleb is number 1?
I think it's safe to say that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can move on then.
I'm still right. I still think that Chicago could have played this a little closer and like not traded Fields yet and did the whole thing, but it's Caleb. It's Caleb. It sounds like it's all but done, right? So
I wish the exact opposite of what you said, and I'm very glad it happened the way that it actually did, because that's not right for Justin Fields. I feel like it gave him an opportunity to literally go away and not have to worry about, am I going to be here or not? I feel like if it would have got closer and closer to the draft, like let's just say this week, and then they decided to trade him, I'm sure he'd feel absolutely terrible, which I'm sure he probably already does anyway. But for the Bears' perspective, which I'm sure is what you more were highlighting, they possibly could have gotten more if they played this out better. Is that what you more are saying? If they,
yeah, right.
Okay.
And I like Justin Fields. I feel like he's played pretty well. I think it's interesting that they have kept the coaching staff, but they're going to reset this quarterback position again. This could be its own thing. I don't want to belabor it. I just feel like it's sports. It's part of the thing. It's part of the game, right? Like, I know we've had this conversation about not giving up on Zach Wilson or Sam Darnold or anybody else, but like this, it's like it didn't happen. It didn't work out. It's just it's the rules of engagement in the NFL. If you're an NFL quarterback, there's only 32 of them. So, as great for everybody. It's a new page, but I disagree.
Thank you for that, Sam. Anyway, number 2, Sam just went into what already happened. I just want to know real quick. I didn't care, Sam. I'm sorry. Number 2, Jayden Daniels is going at 2.
So rude today.
Do you guys believe Jayden Daniels is going at 2? Yes or no?
I think from all the reports, they're saying they're pretty locked in on him. I like Jayden Daniels. I like Drake May more. I see
interesting.
Is maybe a better fit for the Commanders just because of his size and the way he throws the ball. The Commanders kind of already did this with Robert Griffin III. It seems like they're just playing it out over again. But all the reports seemingly have the Commanders taking Jayden Daniels. So I'm not plugged in, so I can't tell them differently.
Before I hear what you think, Sam, why would you take Drake May? I feel like Drake May, just real quick, I feel like Drake May would be, what's his name that is there right now with the Commanders?
Oh, man.
Sam Howell.
Sam Howell.
He got traded. But
yeah. I feel like it'd be the same thing all over again. Not just because he's a white quarterback. I just feel like it'd be the same thing. But why do you feel? Carolina. Well, yes, exactly. Why do you feel that he would be a better option?
I just don't love Jayden Daniels' side. It's more of the knock on Jayden Daniels is what I think he projects out to be. I don't like his size. I don't really think he's as mobile as people think he is. I'm just not a big fan. And having whatever the Commanders have around him, it just doesn't seem like a good situation. I don't think it'll be a good situation for either quarterback they pick.
Agreed.
But at least you get one that could possibly be a little bit more durable.
Okay, fair. Sam?
Yeah, I mean, Chicago is a fantastic situation now, right? Like with Keenan Allen and Moore and Aaron Jones and Kmet and everything. But yeah, New England and Washington are going to have very similar struggles here. I know it's like comp season and the comps go crazy this time of year, right? But like I keep seeing, and I just read this from Matt Miller, who's now at ESPN, who I've been a fan of for over a decade. I feel like been reading his stuff, and he's saying it's Lamar Jackson, and I get the exercise, but I'm not as privy to like all these quarterbacks as in recent years. I see it, but I don't see enough of it. Like I guess I don't know enough. I question what the Commanders did with all of their invites, though. Did you read this? Did you see this? They basically invited all the quarterbacks at once, and they all came and did like a group interview, and they all went to like Top Golf, and it was legit, like Drake May, JJ McCarthy, everybody, like they used all of their invites and pooled them all together and brought all the quarterbacks to Washington or wherever. Like,
so it's safe to say that they're picking a quarterback at number 2 is what you're saying.
I would imagine.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just so weird. Like, why waste?
Sam,
that one-on-one
I'm just going to stop you. I'm going to stop you from wasting your time because it's the Commanders. Nothing makes sense with anything that they do. So this just falls in line with the shit that they do. Period.
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
I know it's a new regime. Yeah. It's a new regime, but the stank still ain't off them yet, Harrison. It ain't off them yet.
Well, it's a completely new regime. I mean, the ownership group is different.
Stank ain't off them yet. They still playing in that rusty, dusty ass stadium, right?
Well, yeah. Well, where are they going to play? They bought the team like
exactly.
2 months ago. Okay, so if they fix the Sean Taylor statue, then everything is good. Like, what's the barometer?
The field
of
is terrible. FedEx Field is terrible. It ain't nothing about the statue. It's just
field.
of
course.
Yeah. So when they fix that, then I'll say the stank is completely gone. Just not yet.
I just feel bad for whatever quarterback gets drafted.
I agree.
To be honest with you,
I agree.
But like I said, if it was me, I would take the more durable one that seems to have similar upside. I think they're both very comparable. I guess it just shakes out which team drafts them and how's their careers shake out. Because we go through this exercise all the time with the draft, but it's really proper fit. Proper fit means so much. And, you could be as good as possible, but if you have no proper fit and you're not in a place where they're going to build around you or have the pieces around you already, you're doomed from the start, no matter how talented you are.
I'll say this. That's more the reason why I go with Jaden. There's two reasons is that I do believe he's better than Drake May. And also the schedule that they played. Drake May had a hard time against Virginia. The comp that he played throughout this year is completely different than the comp that Jaden Daniels played against at LSU. And then he has excelled in reading the offense and being able to throw the ball. Yes, his size is different, but you can put size on. That is able. But I feel that he is definitely ready day one for them. I still am going to firmly say what I said to Sam. I don't know if you were on this episode or not. I still believe that Caleb Williams is going to be a bust down the road, but I'm not changing that. Sam, you've heard me say that, right? I have not changed from that.
Why?
Yeah. I just don't. I don't believe in him. I don't believe in him. I really don't.
That's crazy.
He's a guy. He's literally. Yes, he won a Heisman, but his teams went nowhere.
They had nobody.
Okay, so he's the guy, though. And he's also now followed arguably the best coach. Well, now he's probably the best coach in football, in college football. And you follow him all the way to USC, and then you have this terrible fucking version of a season. And this is what we get from him. Like, I watched him whine and cry on the sideline when things aren't going his way. I don't believe in his character for that.
They were putting up 40 plus points a game, scoring 50 points and losing.
And still losing.
That's not his
combined.
That's not his
93 touchdowns in 2 years.
I'm a
USC fan, and I've watched a ton of Caleb Williams when he was on Oklahoma and USC. And to say that he's going to be a bust is crazy to me. Maybe because of the situation, the circumstances, and the coaches he has around him. But the talent is off the charts. Like, no one throws a ball like him in college football. That's what I see.
The verdict is still out.
Look, if we 30,000 view, 30,000 foot view of this whole thing, there's going to be busts, right? I mean,
sure,
2021 jury's still out on Trevor Lawrence. I mean, and Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Trey Lance. We thought that was going to be pretty good. 2018, that was going to be pretty good. Josh Allen, obviously Lamar Jackson's in a tier by himself. Josh Allen's pretty damn good at football. The other guys, you know, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen. So it's Baker's kind of have a resurgence, but it's going to happen. Can it? I mean, I was floored when I saw Jamarcus Russell 15 years ago throw a football at his pro day from his knees, but like it doesn't all work out. So yeah, I mean, it's there. The size is there. His ability is there. I think the one knack that a lot of people have, aside from like protecting the football, is like he needed to do too much, and like he improvised too much, and he tried to be this, like, whether he, you know, I guess needed to or not, he was this magician, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers. Play broke down, did it, you know, that kind of thing. He's not going, this isn't college football. It's that opportunity. He needs to clean that up. But I totally agree. The whole like crying to like his mom, like that doesn't bother me. Like I don't know. I feel like I'm the only
just throwing a jab, but I don't care about it.
That's fine. That's fine. I just I don't know. I guess I'm not like insanely impressed with Caleb Williams, but I don't think I would take any of the other guys over him.
I agree with you on that. Yeah, I do agree with you on that. I wouldn't take the other guys over him, but I still just don't think. I don't think he's going to be this quarterback that they've been talking about. I think the hype has been way too big for him as he's the next best thing, and they haven't talked about a quarterback like this really since Andrew Luck of being the sure thing and whatnot. And I don't see that. Does that mean he won't be good in his own right in the NFL? Yes, but I don't think he's going to be this mega superstar that they're painting him to be. I just don't see that. I don't.
Stamp it now. I'm saying he's going to be a superstar.
Okay, please stamp it now.
The bar is pretty low in Chicago, so
I think he's far and away the best quarterback in this draft, and there's a huge drop off after.
I think we see the great thing about a podcast and recording it is we can always come back.
I'm putting it on tape. It's on tape.
Yep, we have it both on tape. We stayed there too long. Actually, it was great. It was absolutely great, gents. But number three,
we talked about the three quarterback. This is what matters in this draft. Where these three quarterbacks shake out. Yeah. After that, it's pretty much a normal NFL draft.
Well, I think that at pick number 3, I think it's pretty much interchangeable between Jaden and Drake. It's really just who the Commanders want because they have their pickings after Caleb. They obviously know they're not getting Caleb, so it's just really that. Never mind. I'm not even going to put that out there in the world. But I mean, Drake May could go at 3 or 2, depending on if you believe what Harrison or agree with Harrison. But
no, I don't. I think the Commanders are set on taking Daniels. I would just. Okay. I'd rather
just would take Drake.
Gotcha. If I was the Commanders, I'd rather have Drake May.
Drake.
And I think you're in a spot now where I know there's been stuff floating around today, like the Patriots are, trying to move the pick, and Jonathan Kraft's gonna like really be involved with this. But like this is kind of like the situation last year with 1 and 2, where like, okay, Houston, maybe they were going to take Bryce Young, maybe they weren't, whatever. They lucked out. They didn't have to pick, right? Like CJ Stroud was there. It was the right move. New England has that luxury one way or the other of being like, okay, well, the decision is mine, because there is a gap, in my opinion, too, between Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and then Penix or JJ or whatever. So they're in that situation too. But
shout out to Lovie Smith. He's the real reason that the Houston Texans got CJ Stroud. Follow the lineage, follow the line. If you did, I have to send you both a video of showing you exactly how the Lovie situation of not playing to lose changed everything for them. So at number 4 is
didn't work for Adam Gase.
What happened?
Didn't work for Adam Gase.
Well,
the Jets won this game against the Rams.
Listen. We're not going to let you. I'm not going to let you go down the Adam Gase line because I know you're just going to. I'm stopping you now.
I'm just saying. Doesn't always.
Nope. Let's not do that. Arizona Cardinals have the number 4 pick. Do you think they keep it? Do you think they trade it?
I would love for them to keep it and take Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's the best player on the board, aside from QBs. I'd take him too. If it was me, I love Marvin Harrison Jr. I think we get into this kind of critique of like what they do during pro days and what they do after their playing career in college football. But like on the tape, like he is a dominant wide receiver, like an absolute beast in college. Why wouldn't you want him on your team?
I agree.
I would like the Cardinals to stick with what they're doing with Kyler Murray. They had a much better second half of the season when Kyler was back. Give them some weapons, get Marvin Harrison Jr. on that team, and then see what happens from there. But they'll probably trade it.
If they can get a boatload for it, I mean, which sounds like they can, especially with a generational talent and a Marvin Harrison Jr., I would trade it depending on what you're getting for it. But I agree with you. What you said about getting what's his name? Why can't I think of his name? You just let it. QB. Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray.
Getting him another weapon is much needed. It's absolutely much needed. And as you said, Harrison, the best player, honestly, to me in this whole draft is Marvin Harrison Jr. So if you can get him, go for it. Absolutely go for it.
Yeah, I mean, the Cards made some savvy moves last year, trading out of 3 and then trading back up to 6. I mean, that was fun. Who knows how desperate, the rumblings, the Vikings, the Giants, looking at, possibly JJ McCarthy at 4, which I I wouldn't do if I were either of those teams. But yeah, I mean, who's Kyler going to throw to? I mean, aside from the tight end, who's Greg Dulcich, like aside from him, like everyone else on this receiving core is gone. Hollywood's gone. Rondell Moore's gone. Greg Dortch, you're gonna is your ex receiver. So I definitely think there's going to be a receiver drafted in Arizona. Yeah. I hope it's Marvin Harrison for Kyler's sake.
Yeah, I think I know we were talking about as you mentioned, Sam, on several mocks of the Giants trading up to get JJ at 4, but the Giants are at 6, and I'm looking at the teams that are literally there ahead of them, and outside of it's definitely the first 3 is going to be quarterback, right? I don't think the Giants are going to really have to worry about not getting a good quarterback. Just trading up and losing some more assets, I think is kind of just stupid in the situation when you're behind. But then again, if you really want a player and you really want a player that bad, go get him. You
got to be sold on him. You got to sit there and be like, this is my dude. Like, I want this Brian Daboll. We need him. He is an upgrade over Daniel Jones.
Yeah,
and if that's the case, then do it. But
what the current GM that's there right now was the GM that drafted Daniel Jones, or was that Gettleman?
No, he didn't draft. The current one did not draft Jones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, they did pay Daniel Jones, but they
did. They did do that, so they're still at fault. So that's for sure. Do you think if there's any major trades that you think is going to happen of teams moving up? What team do you think it would be, and what do you think they're trying to get? If you just have like an inclination of what it is to be.
I would say the Vikings moving up to pick a quarterback is probably going to happen.
Yeah, I think the Vikings really like JJ.
Yeah.
They really like JJ from all I keep hearing. So
yeah, I think they'll find in that 4 to 6, 7, 4, 5, 6, 7 range somehow. They need it. They need to find a quarterback.
They do. Sam, you have one.
You have those receivers. I'd probably say Minnesota. I mean, I've heard some like Vegas involved there too, but like
I like that one.
You have those receivers on rookie deals still in Minnesota. I don't know if Sam Darnold is the answer there. I don't.
He's not.
Yeah. So it'd just be interesting.
Former USC
there. I don't know what that would. If you're Jim Harbaugh in LA, though, you're kind of just like sitting, like hoping that the Cardinals trade out, and then you can get Marvin Harrison. Imagine Marvin Harrison and Justin Herbert. I know they have no receivers either, so I feel like it'll probably be someone, whether it's Neighbors or a Dunze or someone, but like that's like the biggest. That's going to be pretty to watch too.
The biggest. Like everyone behind you is just waiting for you to drop back so that they can take Marvin Harrison Jr. So why don't you just take him? That's kind of where I sit with it.
Yeah, I have to agree with you both. I think it's going to be the Vikings because they really want a quarterback and need a quarterback, and I feel that they absolutely have to do that to pair somebody with Justin Jefferson. You just have to do that right now. Especially because you want him to have the ball. So. I think that's going to be very, very interesting in itself. Is there anything else you gentlemen are looking forward to when it comes to the draft before we move forward?
I'm interested in seeing how high Brock Bowers goes. I think he's another really special talent. In line with kind of Marvin Harrison Jr. Like you kind of want to take the best talent available, the playmakers. So I'm curious to see how high up he goes. A lot of mocks he's projected to the Jets at 10. I like that.
That makes you both happy.
I'd be happy with that. But I'm curious if, any teams not reach, but move him up a little bit.
Sam?
Yeah, I mean he's really like he's tight end, but he's really just a playmaker. I mean, when Georgia used him a lot to bail them out of certain situations. I mean, the comp you keep getting, and it's because he is such a good blocker too, is George Kittle, who when you think of the dual threat tight end, like receiving and blocking and doing all that. George Kittle's probably the top of that list, just for what he can do with blocking schemes. And I do, you keep hearing the things with the Jets, like, and I mean, we know this. Aaron Rodgers, doesn't really implement rookies into and doing all that stuff. I'm torn because even though I like what the Jets have done to kind of fortify the offensive line, I still feel like, we should draft a tackle there too. And there's a couple good ones. I think Joe Alt from Notre Dame will probably be gone by number 7 to the Titans here, especially with who Coach Callahan's father was. Bill Callahan is going to run the offensive line, and he is like the offensive line guru. So like I think that's all but done there. So I kind of been, I don't know about you guys, but I just been going back and forth where I would love Brock Bowers to just have that kind of chess piece there, but I don't want to shortchange how the offensive line will always need work.
Well, I think that's the biggest thing is, and it's really, there's only one person that it really matters to who wants what, and that's Aaron. If Aaron wants Brock, they're getting Brock. If he wants an O lineman, they're getting an O lineman. But it's, to me, I know Brock is considered to be a can't miss. We thought the same thing about Kyle Pitts, and then they didn't throw the ball to him too. So there's that. And then also you have a lineman, so Aaron Rodgers is not on his ass and he doesn't rupture his Achilles again, because I'm pretty sure you can't throw the ball off your back throughout the whole game. So I'd probably go O-line. Honestly.
Football's the ultimate team game.
Yep.
You need it all.
I'd say the thing that I'm most interested about in this first round is seeing what the Bears do with the number 9 pick, because they have an opportunity to potentially trade up and trade back in and get somebody else because they have a high pick, or they can trade that pick off and get more bang for their buck and get a later pick in the first round and get somebody else they may be targeting. So I'm very curious of what they could do, because just imagine they get, well, they're already going to get Caleb, but just imagine they somehow, some way trade back up to get an earlier pick than 9, and then they get Marvin Harrison Jr. Things like that I could possibly, it's possible. I don't know what they're going to do. There's a lot of moving that they possibly can do, but depending on what other teams want, like if the Giants want to move back, where Tennessee's like, we can move back a little bit, take that pick and go from there, and then they get what they got to get. I'm very, very intrigued, but I don't think he gets past 4 anyway. But that's the most that I'm intrigued in something. What is also very intriguing to me is that Zach Wilson got traded to the Broncos today.
Oh my God, he did?
Yeah.
Did you not? By the way,
excuse me.
I appreciate you not texting me the news that Zach Wilson got traded.
I didn't need to.
Like
I had a podcast that I could talk to you about it instead. So this was even better. Since you both are Jets fans, what are your thoughts of Zach being gone?
Good riddance.
I think it's bad, buddy. Yeah, like I'll drive him to Newark if he wants. Yeah. Like it. I say that because the back and forth of like, all right, this is 2 years now where, and yes, he was thrusted in 4 plays into the season. He's the starter again instead of learning hands-on from Aaron for a year and all of that. But like he was benched so many times and like brought to the bottom of the depth chart so many times over the last couple of years, where it's just, I don't think it's a big stat. I think it's run its course. Sean Payton, is a great offensive mind. Hope maybe there's some there. There's an opportunity that he could, do some damage, hopefully in a good way for them. But yeah, good riddance. It ran its course. It didn't work.
Yeah, he just wasn't good enough. Like the arm talent may have been there, but he just he played timid all the time. Even when, his job is on the line and he has nothing to lose, he's going to go to the bench anyway. He still played scared. I just was not a fan the entire tenure. And when they drafted him, that's revisionist history, but I wasn't a fan of it either. And just seeing his personality in New York City, it just wasn't a match. Like, it just did not work out. And it wasn't going to work out no matter how many times you try and give it an opportunity. So see ya.
The Mormon God is coming to you, Broncos, with your new jerseys that you released today. It's funny they changed jerseys. You're like, let's get this off and change this up. See, well, you get rid of.
They have no other quarterbacks on their roster. They should
start. Zach's about to start.
That's a mistake.
Well, it might be. It might be. I mean, Denver is not
no Jarrett Stidham
as it is the Jets. No. So,
well, especially had the last couple of years, I think. I think it's fine, right? Russ is gone. It's kind of like a reset.
Just restart it. Start it up.
Sure.
Good luck to Denver.
Yeah. Well, good luck to you guys, because we're staying here with the Jets, and your current quarterback can't shut the hell up, can he? This is going to be a fresh reaction out of Harrison because he hasn't heard anything about this.
So when you put this on there and I read it, I don't know why I thought Alex Rodriguez.
Oh, okay.
I did too.
Okay. And I was like, wait, what did Alex Rodriguez do?
Nah,
and then I put two and together. I'm like, oh, we're in the football section. So it's Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Do we have to do this?
We do. Aaron Rodgers, amongst many of the other things that he said, has now flat out and said, I want to get spicy today, flat out and said that HIV was created by the government. And of course, as most things that Aaron Rodgers says in recent memory, it is literally putting a blowtorch to a gasoline tank. And it sure enough has done that. So I just bring this on here because I am speaking to two Jets fans, and I am curious of how you feel about your quarterback that has not played. Well, he has technically, but it's supposed to be your quarterback of the future and bring you guys to the promised land, and he continues to do this. How do you feel about this as the guy that represents the franchise you guys enjoy watching?
Well, our quarterback of the future is not currently on the roster, but the quarterback of now is on the roster.
I like what you did there, but if they sign him to another contract, he's still a future quarterback for you.
I would say I don't subscribe to the shut up and dribble mentality. So Aaron Rodgers is free to say whatever the hell he wants and however the hell he wants to say it. I'm also free to just not pay attention and listen to it. So that's where I'm at.
Okay. Our good friend of the podcast, Dave, sent me that same exact tweet that you sent me, Brandon, a couple weeks, last Tuesday, and my response was the same to you, Brandon. I don't have the bandwidth today to entertain the thoughts that have come out of this idiot's mouth. I texted the same thing to you. To not listen to it. I agree. I co-sign with Harrison here. Aaron Rodgers just wants everyone to know that he thinks differently. He's the smartest person in the room, and in between the white lines and on the football field, he's brilliant. He has, one of a kind. He is prime stepping into the Hall of Fame without question. He's one of the most athletic and talented athletes at that position will ever. Like, he's done a lot to change the game. I say it all the time. Before it was Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers is that prototype of quarterback from head to toe that you want. But outside there, I can't do it anymore. Last year near killed me, man. Like, just between like, oh crap, this guy really is going to be our quarterback, to like buying in and then everything just evaporating, just like his Achilles, and then having to go through all of it. I don't have the bandwidth. Maybe in August I'll jump on this microphone and be pounding my chest and be like, guys, this is it. We're bought in. We're all here. Like, clip it. That's fine. But like, or today, April, whatever, I don't have it. I didn't even listen to it. You could tell me, Hayes, you could completely make up the next 5 things he said and I would believe you. No doubt. I can't do it anymore. I just can't.
That's fair. I just wanted to ask, the Jets fans on this podcast.
Hayes trolling. Yeah.
Trolling. Just absolutely trolling us.
It was just enough, It was just needed to know.
Yes.
NBA.
That's the best segment you've ever enjoyed. You've never enjoyed a segment more than that one.
That's not true. There's one. Okay. There's one on here that I might enjoy more than anything. The NBA.
When Matt Nagy was fired, we were both pretty happy.
Oh yeah, we were gloating a little bit. Yeah, I mean, there would have been a segment on here that would have been the best segment that I would have enjoyed the most, but we didn't record. It would have been the Saquon segment when he joined the Eagles, so that would have been the best. So just know in my head, I've ran through what I would have said, and it just lives in my head rent-free. The NBA is also living in my head rent-free because it's on my TV nonstop at this point in time. We're in round one. We have the teams all there. Last time we were on the podcast, we were talking about the teams for the play-in and where they would go. Sam, I believe that I only got one wrong, and I think you got one wrong in what we decided to pick, or you might have got them all right.
I didn't get any wrong.
Yeah, because you didn't give us
I thought the
picks.
Warriors. Yeah.
But you had the Warriors,
Harrison,
right? Yeah.
I had the Warriors being in, but I think the rest of them I got right.
Fair.
I don't know. Tell me I got them all wrong, and that'd be fine.
No, you didn't get them all wrong. So we have Cavs, Magic, Timberwolves, Suns, Knicks, Sixers, Nuggets, Lakers, Celtics, Heat, Clippers, Mavs, Bucks, Pacers, Thunder, Pelicans. All right, so we've already been through game ones. We have the Cavs over the Mavs, our Magic, Timberwolves won, Knicks won, Nuggets won, Celtics, Clippers, Bucks, and Thunder won in their matchup. So there's some games tonight when we're recording this for those that are watching on YouTube. And for those that are watching later, you will be into Tuesday's games. I'm about to sneeze, maybe not. Tonight, the Knicks play.
Hate that.
I hate it too. I just wanted just to sneeze. It's not happening. Sixers versus Knicks tonight at 7:30 Eastern time. We also have the Mavs, Cavs. Then we part of that we have the Lakers, Nuggets, and that's it for Monday night. And then Tuesday is Mavs, Clippers. We have Suns, Timberwolves, and Pacers, Bucks.
There's only 3 tonight. Yeah.
Yep. 3 tonight, 3 tomorrow, and then we're assuming 3 Wednesday as well too.
Yeah.
So far, what have you taken away from these playoffs, Harrison? Since you weren't here last week to talk about the playoffs, I will give you the floor. It's all you, my friend.
Well, I should have been at Knicks Sixers tonight. My buddy Rob works for the Sixers and tried to get some tickets, but he said it's an absolute madhouse and it's impossible. So the Garden will be rocking again. That was a really fun game one. Saturday was immensely fun. Sunday was not so much. So that's kind of what I'm taking away from it. Other than the late game, the Thunders and Pels was the really only good game yesterday afternoon. Yeah. So. Interesting that all the home teams went 8-0, kind of obviously very chalk down the line. First time that's happened since, I think, 2011. So, what surprised me most was the Clippers dominating the Mavericks. I thought the Mavs are better. I think they will be better, but how the Clippers basically just kind of bullied them and punked them was interesting to me. So yeah. I'm intrigued by that series. Yeah. So I'm intrigued by that series going down the line. Everything else was kind of predictable. The Magic they looked young. They didn't look ready kind of for the moment of the playoffs. And Edwards, obviously, with a big, emergence for the Timberwolves. Knicks 76ers is going to be a battle as long as Embiid stays healthy.
Well, let me stop you for a second because you said everything is predictable. So you thought that the Bucks were going to beat the Pacers up like that without Giannis?
No, definitely not that one. One I had some concerns. Okay. But the Bucks are the more veteran team. The Pacers are very young, and the Pacers have not been as good as they have been since the in-season tournament. They've just been a different team. Halliburton has not been as good, just point blank period. And they are young, so I don't want to say I would have picked the Bucks, but they do still have more experience, and they are still a very good team even without Giannis. And why they are a championship contender with Giannis, even though they haven't put it all together. So. a lot of predictability, but that's kind of always the way it is in the first round. You got 1v8, 2v7. So yeah, that's kind of some of my takeaways.
I think the biggest takeaway for me right now is the game that I'm talking about tonight. That's going to happen in a few for us, but the Sixers Knicks, and it's one person that is only revolving around, and I believe I said that last week to Sam, is Joel Embiid, his health. This is the first time this man dunks and then he goes down like that. Like, it just was not great, did not look good. And it's a difference between being in playing shape and then playing in playoff shape. Because that, as you know, from watching all these years, that's a different type of physicality than it is during the regular season, because all these teams are fighting to get somewhere. So that series, I was very, very curious, but if this pans out the way that it possibly could for the Knicks could be in the conference final.
Absolutely.
And they could be absolutely very, very blessed this year with, depending on what happens to the Bucks. Obviously, they're facing the Sixers injured. They have an opportunity to just get right up to the Celtics and just wait and have that brawl, which would be absolutely interesting to see how that pans out in itself. It's very, I'm going to talk to you, Sam, directly, because you're a Knicks fan on here. If the Knicks blow this and don't get to the conference final, this would be one of the biggest mistakes in franchise history, because I don't see this being as easy next year if those key players are healthy again next year. This is a golden opportunity for the New York Knicks to get to a place that they have not been in quite some time.
They wouldn't line up with the Celtics, assuming
nobody
Celtics
lines
win
up with
out.
the Celtics.
No.
I mean,
matchup wise. No, they would have Bucks,
they wouldn't
Pacers.
line up with the Celtics. Okay,
they'd have Bucks, Pacers next.
Yeah, if they right. I know everyone's really high in New York right now, and like the vibe's good, and like yes, I agree with you wholeheartely, Hayes. If the Knicks don't make it to the conference finals, and or by losing to the Celtics, like there's a lot of questions to be answered. I think they have persevered through a lot. Like, the Sixers did a good job of kind of limiting Jalen on Saturday. Was it Saturday?
Yeah, it was Saturday.
Yeah, yep. Saturday. But still, like, everyone else stepped up and Hart made some great shots. I mean, the team has bought in. They're playing really well, especially like Jalen not having that crazy night that he's had seemingly every night for the last couple months. And they found a way. Yes, Embiid is a difference maker, top 5 in this league when healthy. Did they rush him back? Like, is he going to be the same? Is Maxey going to play tonight? I heard he's sick. Like, that's huge too. He had a lot of run. I know the Knicks out rebounded them. The bench outscored them by a mile. Like, that they played really well. If I was a Sixer fan, I'd be really worried about the health of Embiid. But yeah, the expectations for the Knicks are sky high, and they should be.
I would say I've seen Embiid in person so many times, and as I have a lot of friends on the 76ers organizational staff, and I'm never too worried about Embiid. Like, he always seems to like play hurt or act hurt or play possum, and just his demeanor moving up and down the court always looks so sluggish and lackadaisical and hurt. Yeah. So I'm never quite sure like what his 80, 90, 70% is. I'm never quite sure. But, and him just coming back from that dunk and that looked disastrous, but he's just back out there the second half. So for the Knicks, I think this round is a much tougher test for them. Obviously, dependent on if Giannis is healthy for the next round. But if Giannis is not, if they can make it through the 76ers, which I think this will go 6 or 7. I think this will be a very good series. If they can make it through the 76ers, they really, really should have their eyes on making it to the conference finals and competing with the Celtics. That their team is that good, despite the Randall injury, despite what they have. They are very good, and how they match up well with the rest of the bracket. So yeah, I'd agree with you, Hayes. I wouldn't say monumental disaster, because they still have the ability to move pieces and do different things in the offseason, and they're on the way up, and they've done things the right way as an organization to build for years to come. So it wouldn't be a complete disaster, but it would be an opportunity wasted.
I wouldn't even be surprised to your point that we just said there. I wouldn't even be surprised if Donovan Mitchell somehow made it there next year. And I know he's technically a free agent, right? After this,
no, he has one more year. But if he says, I'm not resigning, they probably
they're gonna move him. Yeah,
I see him on the Nets. I don't see him on the Knicks. I don't think he fits with the Knicks.
Bring him to the Nets. I'll take him. Yeah. I'll take him. I'll gladly take him.
As you should. I don't see them.
I'll be out here all this. You know,
I don't see them making a play. Him and Jalen Brunson are redundant to me.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to touch on
the Knicks are prime though, with all the caps, with the picks and everything to get the next.
Yeah, they can make better moves. Totally. I think Mitchell would be. It would be a nice to have, but it's kind of an embarrassment riches at guards. They could play that better and line themselves up for something different.
Agreed. I just want to touch on a point of what Sam said about how well the Sixers played Jalen Brunson. The Sixers have played Jalen Brunson extremely well the whole entire season. This is the team that he struggled against the most throughout the whole entire season. But the problem is you got DiVincenzo, who is the second best three-point shooter in the league outside of Stephen Curry that can knock down those shots. You have Josh Hart that has stepped up. You have, again, I think it's not talked about enough because Brunson is doing his damn thing, but Anunoby is such a big pickup for them. It's a huge pickup for them, and it's not talked about enough. And I think that was such a solid move for them. And I know one of my best friends was crying about it, like, I don't like the move. And I was like, then you don't know OG Anunoby then, because this is going to definitely help your team. And here we are. Because just imagine not having OG and then Randall being down. Like, that would be a gut punch to what was going on to the rest of the team. So
they wouldn't be where they were. They've made such great moves. The front office has done a tremendous job. Knicks fans should be very, very happy and excited. And that's why the vibe is so high, because there's some belief there, which is awesome.
Two more things before we move on, and just to ask you guys if you have any other things that stick out. One, to your point, Harrison, of the moves that the Knicks made. I know a lot of Knicks fans at the beginning were so upset with some of the moves that they didn't do, and so on and so forth. This is why I preach on this podcast about patience, because we as sports fans, we want everything now. But sometimes you got to understand that there's a bigger plan that they see and they understand. Guess what? These guys actually know what they're doing, know how to move the money, know the players, have scouting reports, see things that we don't see, and they make moves. Now, does it always pan out? Absolutely not.
I'm about to ask, like, what's the plan with Gleyber Torres?
Well, what's the plan with the Brooklyn Nets, and what's the plan with Gleyber Torres for sure? I'll get you the plan. Don't worry. I got a plan for you. Give me some time.
This Gleyber ram better be epic, Hayes.
This is gonna be a collective, because I know you guys have. We'll just get to it. Don't worry. But yeah, that I forgot what my second thing was, but is it
about Anthony?
No, it was gonna be basically to. Oh, this is what it was. It was the Knicks being in the playoffs. It adds a different energy to the playoffs, and I'm not saying that because we're from New York or whatnot. I'm not a Knicks fan. Harris is not a Knicks fan. Sam is a Knicks fan, right? But just the energy that the Knicks bring, like if you remember that playoff series with the Hawks and how crazy it was in the NBA and the energy that you would see outside the Garden, like the Garden needs to be a part of. They just need to make the NBA Finals in the Garden like all the time, and it just makes a different energy or whatnot.
It's just different. The only thing
I saw video. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think from a energy standpoint, the only difference, like that Thunder crowd last night was also absolutely insane. And it's like a college crowd and a college atmosphere, but that's what you have in New York, but like on steroids and violent.
Very violent. Very
violent. In 30 years, aside from the mellow Knicks tape era, and like everyone's ready. I saw video. There were Trae Young chants last night, 2 nights ago, outside the Garden.
It's not going to change.
It's never going to change.
It's Trae Young. It's the Nets. Yes. Excuse me. It's everything that they don't like, and it's just going to 100% be on blast. And it's just going to get very, very interesting to see where it goes. And as they have such a good team, it's just going to turn up as they continue to go. So
we broke out the fuck MB chants very early. The FMB chants happened early in game 1 too. So.
Yeah. Well, you already know the love that New York has for Philly, so that does not add to
What's
anything.
also crazy, Knicks and Sixers haven't met in the playoffs in 35 years.
Wow.
That's insane.
Wow.
How is that possible?
Yeah. I don't know. That's really, really nuts.
Yeah.
Is there any other?
Have you looked at the Knicks over the last 35 years?
I guess Sixers too, other than Iverson years.
Yeah.
It makes sense,
Anthony
but it's
Edwards
such a big
coming
number.
out party.
So good.
Yeah. Yeah, Anthony Edwards. Well, I mean, not coming out party like we. No, I know. No coming out party like this, like the world, like the stage is set, like playoff basketball. This is what we've been on board. I know offline we talked about like what we've been on. I'm excited to like see this happen and continue to happen because like it's impressive. There's
a different level of energy when the casuals get on board with someone.
Yes.
You know, obviously the basketball world has been plugged in with Anthony Edwards, but getting him on the playoff stage for people that, you know, may not watch on the day-to-day basis and having him show out like that, like he's awesome. He's so good and he's going to be really good. And he's not even the best he can be yet. So
in 2 years, he would be the best player in the NBA. In 2 years, he would be the best player in the NBA. And I wouldn't even be surprised if next year he was, because the way that this man plays is ridiculous. Him going at, and I don't know if you know this or not, Sam, I'm sure Harrison probably does, but you might even know it, but KD is his favorite player of all time.
Yeah.
And the way that this man went at KD and talked to KD up and down that court, and KD enjoyed it because KD is that guy too, because he will talk. He's absolutely going to talk, but I just love the way that he plays. Also, maybe an unpopular opinion, but the best basketball sneaker in this season, period, is his sneaker. I don't care what anybody says. That sneaker is the best sneaker, and in my opinion, is probably the best damn sneaker Adidas has had in years. And I know there's some heaters out there. I don't really like them, but this is my favorite in years. This is the only one I've ever wanted to buy. Let's just put it that way.
He's got everything rolling right now.
He really, really does, man. It's so good. I'm just very happy that he got Karl Anthony Towns back, right? And because I feel that would be a big miss for the Timberwolves. And I really want to see how far this team can go, especially that they literally, technically, as we were talking about last week, were the number one seed on the last day of the season, but it all split out with two other teams, obviously, of course. So they're a really good team, and I'm really, really curious to see how this goes. Before we move on, Harrison, I have one question for you.
Ooh.
You're a LeBron fan.
I am.
Do the Lakers get swept by the Nuggets?
No, probably 5, maybe 6.
Okay.
Yeah, the Nuggets are just so much better. They're not like the Lakers are. They're fine. It's just they're not good enough.
I don't know if you can count on Anthony Davis doing what Anthony Davis did for 6 more games or whatever.
I think even if Anthony Davis did do what he's doing and continues to do what he's doing, and LeBron plays well, they're still just not good enough. D'Angelo Russell is fine, but he's just a wild card. They're just not good enough.
So I'll ask you this question that has been the topic of discussion on multiple platforms. Do you think the Lakers should have lost the first game and played to win the second game so they could have avoided the Nuggets, who seems to be the team that now at this point has beat them in 9 straight matchups?
No, I hated that argument. You're going to have to beat them eventually. So it's, I'd rather catch them early.
Okay.
In my opinion. I thought that was so dumb. That was one of the dumbest 24-hour sports media takes I've ever heard. Lose on purpose. Like, that's crazy to me. Lose a play-in game. You have you have 48 minutes. And then again, you'd have to play the Warriors, you played them tough all year too. I thought that was so stupid. I'm glad I wasn't on for that. That would have probably been a pretty big rant.
I mean, I think we said the same thing. I mean, and you're not going to convince me that you're going to even broach that topic with LeBron.
No, not at all.
You're just not. You're not going to be able to do it. But
you got to.
I understand the big picture of it. I get it. I would, as a Knicks fan, would I rather play the Heat than the Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey? 100%.
I just think you have to beat them eventually.
Yeah.
Like say you get, Pelican or Thunder and you do well, you're still gonna have to play the Nuggets eventually. And then you're probably worse for the wear after that. You got Anthony Davis beat up by more playoff games. And shout out to Anthony Davis. He played 70 plus games this year.
He did. Play street clothes is not street clothes this year.
No.
Shout out to him. All right. Let's get to Do You Care? This weekend, there was some things that happened. And then also it was prior to this weekend, some of these things. So first one, Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney. Did either of you watch it? Or did you see highlights?
I don't know who these people are.
Okay. Sam.
Yeah. Ditto.
Okay. Well, to those
I saw like Shady McCoy dropped a ton of money. I saw the viral stuff, but I didn't know this was happening, and that's on.
So there's a lot that led up to this. Ryan Garcia has been. People didn't even think he was going to make this fight because he thought he was high off drugs and out of his absolute mind. The way that this promo run has been, literally, all the stuff that he said. I beg of you both, just put it on in the background and listen to it. Don't even watch it. Just walk away, put a headphone in, and just listen to the compilation made of Ryan Garcia leading up to this. It is absolutely nuts, and some of it is straight comedy.
Can I listen to an Aaron Rodgers one instead? And would it?
You can do that. There's probably a compilation, a mashup out there somewhere of both of them together because they're both insane. But Ryan Garcia was by far the underdog in this situation. I remember seeing his odds were plus 550 for this fight. He beat the piss out of Devin Haney. And Devin Haney, somehow, some way, he must have been concussed, got up on that pole and stood up and acted like he won the fight after it looked like he got dragged by a car. It was not great for Devin Haney, who was considered to be one of the pound-for-pound greats. And Ryan Garcia absolutely dropped him on his ass 3 times. There's a couple other things that happened throughout the fight, but I can already tell that you two don't care because you don't know who these people are. But I do care for all of that.
All right.
So, yeah. We can move on. Caitlin Clark was drafted number 1 by the Indiana Fever, as we all pretty much knew was going to happen. But what we didn't know was going to happen is the WNBA draft that she was a part of had record-breaking viewership. They had 2.4 million people watch this draft. Wow. And I think they said it beat the record by 300%.
It's pretty good.
I would say so. Gentlemen, do you care?
Yeah, I absolutely care. Yeah. It's a huge moment for women's basketball, women's sports in general. Hopefully they can capitalize on it, and it seems like they are. She sold out all the jerseys, basically the highest amount of jersey sales in one day. I think she outsold all of the NFL combined last year for some crazy stat. So I absolutely care. I'm excited for the WNBA season. I'm excited to watch Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink. I'm more tuned in than I've ever been before, and that just goes to show what the star power is, the marketability of all these players, and how the league is doing marketing it as a whole. So I'm excited.
Sam.
Yeah, ditto. Last week too, we've been advocates for this league and this game for a while, and it's awesome. I remember during the pandemic, it was a Friday night, and we were doing like a Zoom thing with your friends, right? It was like April, and I wasn't paying attention because I was watching the Sabrina Ionescu draft. And I remember my friends of me for sitting there and watched the WNBA draft. I've watched it forever, and I still think of that moment where it's just kind of like, now there's what was number 2.3, like 2.4 nuts, man, and Indiana Fever just having to on the road, and now they're playing at bigger arenas, and the everything that goes with that, from attendance to just the revenue, the awareness. We saw what the Final Four and the championship game numbers were. It's just been an incredible season, and Sabrina, Steph thrown in the mix there, and two juggernaut WNBA teams at the finals last year with Vegas and New York. Like, the momentum is sky high, and like I'm just really excited for for what's next for this league. It's been fun.
So I'm also on board with both of you. I do care. The W is at an all-time high at this point in time, as both of you referenced. Just being able to say that I actually have a team that I like, which I believe all three of us are a fan of the same team, which is the New York Liberty, right? Being able to say that we are actually a fan of a team, I think that speaks in volumes for people that like ourselves that are fans of basketball, have our basketball team, watch that, and now we're saying that we're watching a W game, like, and planning on going to a W game and stuff like that. Like, that would have never happened before. Like, that wasn't a thing before. But now that this is starting to get the viewership it can get, then I hope this finally puts that conversation to an end of young ladies getting paid what they deserve. Now the viewership's going to go up. That means sponsorship's going to go up, and they should get paid what they deserve and won't have to go play in Russia to get the money that they really, really deserve, right? Because that's the only place they can get paid, right? And to actually see them home stateside and do that, hearing that they're trying to expand and bring more teams, and that is a part of the plan for the W, is also awesome to hear and to see. But for me, it's just understanding, being and watching so closely as to what the NBA players are doing that had an influence on this and have been pushing, hey, watch them, because we watch them too. We don't care if you do. Obviously they do. But we watch them, and we want you to watch them too, because we love basketball. And I have the opportunity of seeing the women's game grow before my eyes because of one of my best friends and his daughter playing ball, and the tournaments that she goes to that are some of the biggest tournaments in this country, and watching how the young ladies play now. It's a different type of game that they're playing, and they are so shifty, which is something, the way that they move now is completely different from what I used to watch, like the old school players. And that's no disrespect to them. It's just a different game. It's seeing jab steps, seeing people do shooting from half court, and so on and so forth. That's something that we never saw before in this game. Crossovers, crazy, so on and so forth. So the evolution of the game is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely a fan of it, for sure.
I just want to make sure they take time, and obviously they want to expand, but be patient.
Yes.
Build a sustainable model.
Yeah.
The NBA got it quick with Larry and Magic, and then Mike, and then Mike was gone, and the NBA wasn't as cool anymore. So, but the NFL just keeps rising because it's such a parity-driven league, and any team can win in a year. So it'll be interesting to watch, in front of our very own eyes, how a league truly expands and grows, and how they can keep it, marketable and fresh while depending on superstars, but, hopefully building all franchises as well. So I'm interested.
Great.
Yeah, the revenue will come and all of that.
It'll come.
The bargaining, the TV rights, like the window to negotiate that with the NBA, TNT, and ESPN actually expires tonight. So like tomorrow they can legally have conversations with like Google and Amazon and
Apple TV
and the WNBA. Yeah, WNBA is a part of that conversation too. So with more money, hopefully this, because it sucks that you're making more money than Caitlin Clark. You know what I mean? Like, that will come. And I know the women aren't asking for like the 9-figure crazy deals, and the revenue doesn't support that, but they just want their fair piece of the pie, and hopefully that will happen soon.
Jontay Porter receives a lifetime ban from the NBA for betting on basketball. The Porter brothers strike again. Gentlemen, do you care? Speed round.
Yes and no.
Okay. Why and why?
Yes, because obviously betting is so prevalent in all of sports now. There's tons of backdoors to influence players and and kind of manipulate the game? No, because I didn't really remember who Jontay Porter was until last week. So, obviously the overall scope of betting in sports is a problem. It'll continue to be an issue. No, because this is, a classic fall guy.
Fair. Sam?
It's just kind of, I care, and because again, I'm Jontay Porter is not in the sports lexicon until last week, as Harrison just said. But yeah, I mean, this is Adam Silver did the right thing, said the right things. It's about protecting the integrity of the game, and that was it. And like that's it. And the bets ranged from $15 to $22,000 for a total of $54,000, and the results were 21 grand. And the guy's not going to play basketball anymore. I mean, it's kind of, it almost seems idiotic that it doesn't seem very thought out, and usually plans like things like this. So when you get caught and it's not very well thought out, but it's just it's a interesting thing. And I didn't even know he was related to Michael Porter.
I forgot.
Yeah, for this.
His other brother, he's got another brother that's also in trouble. So I won't put his family business out there. You can read it up on your own.
Rough
week. Very, very interesting. I do care because to Harrison's point, I feel that he was the scapegoat in this situation. I did hear what Charles Barkley said, which is he wished he got a 5-year ban and to give this young man an opportunity to redeem himself. And I do like that empathetic approach, but the NBA wants to deter anybody from ever doing this ever again. So I see both sides of it. It sucks, but it happened to a player. I'm sure somebody is saying that this is in the script and he's really just getting paid off on a side with the NBA or some crazy stuff like that. I'm sure there's somebody out there and on X is doing that. But yeah, I just, as you said, Harrison, so perfectly said, betting is just going to be a part of a lot of the drama that we are going to see. I mean, the biggest name in baseball is dealing with the situation with betting at this point in time. So it's just going to be a part of our future, and which is probably why they were so hesitant to make it legal for so long because of this. But I mean, it's bound to happen. There's idiots in everything we do. But I want to give you some space for this, Harrison. So Scottie Scheffler wins the RBC Heritage this morning.
Yep.
He won the Masters last week. Yep. Texas Children's Houston Open tied second. Players Championship first. And Arnold Palmer Invitation first. And there's a Nelly Korda. Korda wins 5 in a row for the LPGA Tour.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care because I don't care about either of these gentlemen, so I'm just not going to say anything.
One's a woman. No, I just wanted to put it on there as kind of a special shout out to the moment that golf is going through right now. Obviously, a lot of with the years of the past 2 years have been kind of very decisive with LIV and PGA and all this stuff going on. But right now, golf has a truly generational talent that is putting up numbers that we haven't seen since Tiger. No one's even close. He's completely blowing away the fields. He's been the best player in the world for the last 2 years, and stats bear that out. So to see him kind of put it all together and become basically unbeatable right now with no end in sight is really awesome. And then the same thing for Nelly Korda on the women's side. She's been kind of maligned for not putting well enough or not seeming to care enough throughout the years. And she's obviously a generational talent as well. But for her to put it together now too, and also win 5 straight is pretty awesome on the golf side to have a male and a female both completely dominating. And that's what golf needs. Golf needs dominating figures to be interesting. It's a niche sport. You need a name to recognize. Scottie Scheffler is a little boring, but his game is really electric. So same with Korda. So yeah. That's why I care.
Yeah, kudos. And yeah, totally. I mean, Scottie, we talked about it when we talked about the Masters too. And I mean, he's won $16 million in the last month and a half. And
it's not bad.
He's been pretty good for a while, and he is, there's not much to his personality, as you mentioned, but he's just he's great, and definitely a favorite. And he's it. I know the reaction's been good. People have been tuning into golf, and that's awesome. And Nelly, I mean, 5 for 5. I mean, Nancy Lopez, Annika Sorenstam, like the only other golfers to do that for the LPGA, and those are the most recognizable names probably in women's golf history, Annika and Nancy Lopez. So, I mean, yes, she's 25, right? 24, 25 years old. I mean,
she's young. Golf needs it.
Sky's the limit there. So golf's in a good spot. Yeah.
Well, they need it. I mean, viewership is drastically down for this year and almost last year because of all the division and the stuff with Live Golf. So the PJ's in a really tough spot, and to have him kind of showing out and doing this is a huge bargaining chip for them. And then, you know, the LPGA is in a similar spot that the WNBA has been for years without kind of that super marketable star. And she is it. And hopefully people kind of get on board and start watching her and her greatness more. And that leads to more viewership, more TV dollars, more money for the women's game. So it's all good things and you know, on the backs of these two players.
Thanks for the education, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
I wouldn't have known. Number 5.
Have at it, man.
Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres has been playing like an absolute weirdo. Watching the game today when he had an opportunity to potentially turn 2, Sam, I'm sure you saw this, didn't even throw the ball. His fielding has been absolutely hot garbage. I don't know what he's doing anytime he gets into the box. And he wants to be a Yankee for life. You could be a Yankee for life if you go home and you buy MLB The Show, Gleyber Torres, and you make yourself and give yourself a contract and you put it on the lowest setting possible and just rake. And you make yourself a Gold Glove winner in there and you play as you. And you do all that you want, because that is the only goddamn way you're going to be a Yankee for the rest of your life, because you're not getting a full extension. And if he does, so I'm going to go to Yankee Stadium and I'm going to create a sign. And every single time that I go there is going to be Gleyber Torres sucks. And it's going to confuse the hell out of people, because I'm be wearing Yankees gear. And they'll be like, why are you wearing that sign? He's for our team. I don't give a damn about Gleyber Torres. He needs to do something. Yes, he's better than me in baseball, but he's out there playing like I can do this and make this look so easy, as he continues to look like a bum next to Anthony Volpe over there, who is a god at shortstop. You suck, Gleyber. You suck, and you suck. I'm done. I don't care about him.
That'll show him. Sam.
Gleyber Torres was the most consistent player on this team last year, especially
it's not last year.
Without Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge had.
It's not last year.
It's not. It's also 20 games into the freaking season, dude.
Don't care.
And Anthony Volpe looks like Derek Jeter Jr., and that's awesome. And he won a Gold Glove, and he's so freaking smooth, and that's great. You know what he hit last year? 209.
It's fine.
Like, it's fine.
Still Gold Glove winner.
It's early. He's a free agent at the end of the year. Gleyber will probably, if he has this middle, in which he has had. I mean, I think he did a lot last year, change his swing and change his approach and do all of that. He was a liability at shortstop. They moved him. You know, like I get the whole thing. He's a free agent. They tried to trade him, rumored so many times, but he was the most consistent player on the team last year. He played the second most games behind Volpe last year, and he was the only offense when Aaron Judge was not there. I am not worried about Gleyber Torres. Makes it a little easier when DJ comes back soon and Waldo's off to such a great start. You could probably spell Torres and play Oswaldo more at second base, or DJ at second base, and do that whole thing. But, you know, if it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. Right now, it's 20 something games.
It's early.
23 games.
Let's see.
I just want to let you know, no matter what either of you say, it doesn't matter to me. But continue.
Why don't you keep the same energy for Aaron Judge?
Because Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge, and Gleyber has never had a season like Aaron Judge. So I'm just going to keep the energy for Aaron Judge, even though inside I'm screaming at him. But I'm just not going to get out of control because he deserves the opportunity to do something. I think the expectations for Judge are higher, and we expect more. And my expectations for Gleyber are not as high as what you want them to be. So I don't really care at this moment. I think it's still early, and let's see what he does. I mean, we're going to, and I love the fact that we get to come back to this because I'm still good with Gleyber Torres going. This is like Sam trying to talk me off the ledge about Brett Gardner because he knows how much I couldn't stand Brett Gardner. I love Brett Gardner. That's fine. You can. I just was not a Brett Gardner fan either. All right. Gleyber is just
what the Yankees before Verdugo. What the Yankees threw out in left field for 2 years. You're telling me that one more year Brett Gardner would have been the worst thing.
I'm perfectly fine with the decision Brett Gardner made. If you could tell me what the upgrade is, I'll entertain it. Upgrade for who?
Look, in hindsight, for Gleyber,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, you would have hoped that it was going to be Peraza and Volpe up the middle.
Correct.
And the one thing in hindsight, those rumors of trying to get Pablo Lopez from then the Marlins, who's now with the Twins, and just got filthy stuff that has their ace in Minnesota. Like in hindsight, yeah, you should have made that trade a billion times. But again, it didn't work. He's here. The team loves him.
That's great.
I'm not worried about. I'm not worried about him.
He's here and he's ours. Hayes, wrap your arms around him.
He's not mine. He's your dude. You guys can rock with Gleyber all you want. I will not. I'll sit this one out. Completely sit this one out.
Wrap your arms around him and tell him it'll be okay.
Nah, I'm good. I'll put him in the same category as Giancarlo Stanton.
Take a sign and just say, Gleyber, I love you.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you want, I'm all about if we just swapped out Giancarlo's name for Gleyber, which I think we did a couple weeks ago. Like, I co-sign to that. But like, the Gleyber is just, I think it's just it's a bad start. That's all.
Okay.
Thanks, Sam.
And if it's more than that, he just won't be on the team next year. It's his walk year. I mean,
yeah, put up or shut up.
We'll see what his numbers say at the end of the year. If they're on trend to what I think they're going to be, I will 100% have my parade on this podcast. 100%.
Look, I'm not saying. I'm not saying
it ain't about you two. I'm not talking about.
He's not going to hit 280 and that's not who he is. But yeah, if he hits 230 and he's like on the bench in the second half of the year, like, do you want your flowers now? I'll give it to you. That's fine. Like, I'm just not worried about Gleyber Torres looking at this team. I think there's a bullpen issue. We've wasted some really good pitching performances there, and we need to score runs. Is Gleyber part of that? Yes. Would I like him batting at the top? Yeah, it didn't work. Volpe's not, been inconsistent batting at the top of the lineup. There's still some things to figure out. We could have had this conversation about Alex Verdugo 8 days ago and said the same thing. And now look at him over the last couple days. Like, it happens. It's a really long season, dude. It's 162 games.
Thanks for your guys' opinion. I don't care. I still can't stand Gleyber Torres. So thank you guys for coming to my TED Talk.
The beef is on.
It is what it is. I don't really care what either you say. You can throw all the stats you want to, Sam. It's not going to change my mind about Gleyber Torres. I see what I see in my eyes, and I don't like it, period. So it's not going to change.
That's fine, dude. I'm just telling you. It's 20 games into the season.
That's fine. I know how many games it is into the season. I do not need to be reminded of it 3 times. I'm very well aware of where we are in the season. I don't care. I don't care what you have to say, period. Point blank. So
poor Gleyber. Let's do a check-in.
You might check on him and check on Giancarlo too. That's it. All right, Sam, take us out of here. Take Gleyber with you too.
Clear of you. You have a safe place here.
Yeah.
No, it's it, man.
Yeah, with Sam and
Thanks for
Harrison, not with
listening.
me.
Okay, off the rails. Here we go. Thanks for listening, everybody. Check us out on social media and YouTube, and tell your friends and everybody and all of that. Happy Earth Day. Peace out. Go Knicks.
Take Glaber somewhere too. Goodbye.